Ladies and gentlemen, I want you guys to give Mr. Julian Robinson a round of applause. Even if you never watched the video, watched the presentation, even if you wasn't listening carefully, I'm telling you, trust me when I tell you, let's give this man a round of applause before we even begin. All the lies, all the narratives, the historical lies that has been told by the Jamaica Labour Party about so many things. And without any further ado, let's go.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, this is my fifth and my final presentation as opposition spokesman. In the next budget debate, Mr. Speaker, I will be on that side of the aisle presenting. And with distance prayer, it will come true. Why them get agitated, Mr. Speaker? Mr. Speaker, as I've done in my previous administrations, I will demonstrate that the opposition has a firm understanding of the economic challenges facing our nation. More importantly, I'll outline meaningful solutions and establish why the People's National Party is the right choice to lead Jamaica forward. When the people step into the ballot box later this year, they should know that they're voting for progress, for solutions, and most importantly, a better economy for all Jamaicans. Mr. Speaker, before I continue, I want to acknowledge the Minister of Finance, we share a number of borders, and acknowledge her because she's the first female to serve in this capacity and to close a budget debate. So I want to acknowledge the Minister of Finance. Very impressive. And I believe this is a testament to the advances that women continue to make in representational politics. Mr. Speaker, the context in which we are having this debate is one defined by the Holness administration's nearly decade-long tenure, and the undeniable fact that 14 of the last 18 years, the Jamaica Labour Party has been in charge of the government. This is the government's 10th budget, the third Minister of Finance. They are in their second innings, and in the second innings, you're coming to the end of the game. Embarrassing! You have to assess the scores. And Mr. Speaker, I intend to assess the scores today. Over the past 9 years, we have witnessed a continuation of policies that have done little to lift Jamaica out of the low wage, low tech, low productivity, and ultimately low growth economic model. The fact is, Mr. Speaker, if we continue to tinker around the edges, which is what the government continues to do, our economy will remain stagnant. We're going to be trapped in a low value add, low income system that simply can't deliver a better quality of life for the majority of the Jamaican people. Mr. Speaker, low productivity remains one of our biggest obstacles to growth. And without serious investment in skills training, innovation, modern infrastructure, we will never break from the cycle of mediocrity. Mr. Speaker, Tuesday's budget presentation from the Minister was more of that approach that has left Jamaica stuck in low growth but high hardship. We heard no serious coordinated strategy to grow the economy. No aggressive push to improve productivity. Mr. Speaker, what we heard was more tinkering around the edges. Mr. Speaker, the government is out of ideas and out of time. Mr. Speaker, today you will hear from this side. Number one, a bold strategy to sustainably grow the economy at higher levels. Number two, a targeted approach to tackle the cost of living challenges in the short term for young Jamaicans, for struggling parents, and for our seniors. Number three, a concrete plan to reduce energy costs and reduce people's light bills. Number four, a decisive approach to addressing high interest rates and bank competitiveness. Number five, a comprehensive strategy to empower and expand the MSME sector looking at access to finance, incentives, and access to government projects. Number 6, a responsible approach to negotiating public sector wages that ensures fairness and respect. Number 7,
That right there. That right there. I'm sure all the teachers, the doctors, the nurses, oh, they are so happy to hear that, because my goodness, the respect has been lacking, ladies and gentlemen. The spit in the face by the government to these people. Man, listen, let's continue.
a plan for investing in our nation's creative industries and digital content creation.
Digital content creation? You mean like me? Hey man, shout out to that man. Him point it out earlier, but damn, I never, like, you know what I mean? It's kind of different when you hear him say it. You know what I mean?
And number 8, a plan for education, probably the most important, right? One which gives priority to access, equity, and quality to equip our people with the skills needed for a modern economy. Mr. Speaker, we're not here to tinker at the edges. We're here to lead with real solutions that put the Jamaican people first. Mr. Speaker, the government boasts of macroeconomic stability while people's quality of life continue to go down. Stability without meaningful transformation is simply never enough for where we need to be in our economic development.
You hear that?
And Mr. Speaker, we are not knocking macroeconomic stability. We can't, and we would never do so. We understand the value of it. And in fact, it was the last PMP administration from 2012 to 2016 that laid the foundation for the macroeconomic stability and the foundation that we enjoy today.
How comes we always hear Andrew Honest and in government speak as if they are the ones that dig the foundation for the fiscal prudence and the fiscal discipline? But here comes Julian Robinson. Mighty God, talk to them, my boss. Make the people them here where we really go.
But let's be clear, macroeconomic stability is not an end in itself. It is a means to an end. And that end must be higher sustained growth, which translates into better living conditions, not just for some Jamaicans, but for every single Jamaican. What we have seen with this government is an economy which remains structurally weak, with struggling industries and over-reliant on imports, with no real strategy for industrial expansion, export-driven growth, and the creation of high-value jobs. Mr. Speaker, if we continue with these short-term measures, the people may feel good only for today, but our long-term future will never be secured. It is time to secure our long-term future of higher...
Play that back. That deserve a playback.
Mr. Speaker, if we continue with these short-term measures, the people may feel good only for today, but our long-term future will never be secured. It is time to secure our long-term future of higher growth, higher wages, and a better quality society for all Jamaicans.
That's a key part. The key part about that is for all Jamaicans, not just a few, not the higher class, and I'm not doing, listen, you know the names of the big, if you don't know the names of the big people and the PSOJs and all of them people that link with them one another, and all of them are friends, and most of them are Caucasian or white or some other different nationality, you know what I mean, from out of Europe, yeah, them people, they alone of it, I grow and everything, no. We want the disenfranchised to be included in the growth. The more you grow the disenfranchised, actually the better the economy, you know. The one that is considered the one that makes the least, if they're making a pretty good tidy sum of money a week time or every 2 weeks, yeah, them can take them on and make fashion, trust me. them can build a mansion in a field. They're very, very hard working people. Them just need to see. They need to get some help from the government. Thank God for God. Because we know say God are gonna do the right thing through these people.
The government has demonstrated by their tinkering that they don't understand the long-term assignment that is required to transform the Jamaican economy. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. The economy needs a transformative vision and creative leadership, not just some piecemeal strategies. Mr. Speaker, before I go into my growth strategies, I want to clear up what I would consider some misconception about government borrowing. There's been this that the government doesn't need to borrow money or has not borrowed money, that somehow the government is funding all its programs from tax revenues. But let me just set the record straight, Mr. Speaker. For the upcoming fiscal year, the government plans to borrow $158 billion to help finance the budget. What? Yeah. Okay, let me hear it.
Point of order. That, Mr. Speaker, the member is making it, is misleading the House. It was in my speech. He is misleading the House. He's misleading the House.
Ladies and gentlemen, what you're witnessing here is a father fashion. I won't say the last part, but we've seen this many times in the House where the individuals get up and, oh, the speaker is misleading the House, and they don't have a point of order. They just want to get up and interrupt the person and not have a point of order. And in this case, this is what is happening here. She doesn't have a point of order, and she also did not allow him to finish, so she doesn't understand what he's actually saying, and it's embarrassing.
Embarrassing. He needs some milk.
And I'm sorry, but you need to
Shut up. Can we just keep a little bit quiet so that we will hear the minister make the point of order, please?
The member is misleading the House. He's standing up to say the government is pretending that they are not. That is a point that, look, I stood up in this House and I told the Parliament and the Jamaican people how much debt is coming due in this coming fiscal year, how much of it we expected to finance, and what was the gap in there that would be provided for with our own resources. So don't stand up.
This is pitiful still, you know. Favor is just standing up for herself, and nobody in the JLP I can see is really, standing with her. Normally you would hear the deck start knocking after that, right?
So, Mr. Speaker, for him to be insinuating that, we didn't put forward that information is misleading the House.
Look, yo, is it just me or
Mr. Speaker, you ever hear this saying, the wicked fleeth where no man pursueth?
The wicked fleeth where no man pursueth.
What can go so? What can go so?
Yo, he just called her wicked. The wicked fleeth where no man pursueth. Nobody is attacking you, Favo. But this is what you call jumping out the window and embarrassing yourself. Lord have mercy.
Mr. Speaker, I made no reference to the Minister of Finance.
Embarrassing.
We're not the only person who speaks on economic issues.
Embarrassing.
And I'm going to continue.
Embarrassing. Embarrassing. He needs some milk.
I said you said that. But I never said you said that. I said members on that side. And I'm going to continue. Right? Madam Speaker, Mr. Speaker, for the upcoming year, the government plans to borrow $158 billion to help finance the $1.3 trillion budget. The current fiscal year ended, the government borrowed approximately $198 billion. And for full transparency, Mr. Speaker, let me share with the House. The total public debt stock is estimated to reach $2.2 trillion at the end of fiscal year 25-26. By the end of fiscal year 28-29, the government projects that it will rise to $2.34 trillion. Now, hear me. I didn't say you said it, but other people have been saying that we don't need to borrow. And that we've been using our own resources to fund everything. Right? And it is inaccurate. And that is why I'm clarifying it.
Ladies and gentlemen, where's the lie? How many of us have heard, and just type remember, how many of us remember hearing Andrew Holness and other members of the Jamaica Labour Party, especially the ones that are the mouthpieces of the party that speak out in the media, boast about this fiscal discipline? They pretend as if they're not borrowing money and they're not getting loans, but that is a lie. You hear how much trillions of dollars them say them projected to borrow? Come on, ladies and gentlemen. Come on, ladies and gentlemen. All my labor rights. The tough head people ever go and say them don't want to hear the truth. Yeah. I'm talking to y'all. Yeah, the truth shall set you free, my good people. I want you free. You are in bondage.
Embarrassing. We need some milk.
So, Mr. Speaker, right? Mr. Speaker, I never said she said. I never said that. I never said that. Mr. Speaker, the government must be transparent in its dealing. Mr. Speaker, on Tuesday now, and I am addressing the minister now, right? The minister said that there are some people who have been riling up Jamaicans to demand that the NIR is being used to deal with, that they must use the NIR to deal with current issues. So, Minister, I want to know who said that. And like the Prime Minister, when he was asked about illicit enrichment, I asked far and wide on this side. And I can't find either anybody on this side. And I have also gone to Google and AI to say which Jamaican is saying we must use the NIR to deal with current issues. So I am now asking you, Minister, please tell us who is the person who is asking to use the NIR to deal with current issues.
That is funny, honey.
Embarrassing. We need some milk.
Current issues. So I am now asking you, Minister, please tell us who is the person who is asking to use the NIR to deal with current issues. Mr. Speaker, the minister created a straw man to knock it down. But Minister, straw man.
Yo, I want to look at Juliet on this. You know what Juliet on this? Juliet Cuthbert. Yo, she got a strong neck. Like, sheesh. Yo, look at her neck. She's still lifting weights. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
She got a strong neck.
Yes. So, Mr. Speaker, you know, on my way here from last night, my constituents have been inundating me. From last night to today, they have asked me to say to you, to ask you, Minister, from last night to today, they want to know where they can get the Pro Box that costs $2,000 per. We're here from last night. My constituents have been inundating me. From last night to today, they have asked me to say to you, to ask you, Minister, from last night to today, they want to know where they can get the Pro Box that costs $2,000 per month. That if you put it aside, where they can buy that Pro Box. Because they say they want that Pro Box. That when you put aside $2,000 a month for 3 months, you can pay down on that Pro Box. So they've asked me to ask you because they are ready to buy that Pro Box. So I want to ask the Minister, please tell me where that Pro Box is.
Pro box on sale over here, so look further, look no further. You understand? You can start the bidding. The cash app is available. The PayPal is available, ladies and gentlemen. I will send this via email. Alright, all you have to do is pour water upon it and it turns into a Pro box. Oh, no. Yo, look at Favor Williams' face, bro. Oh, this is priceless. Just look at her face right here.
You don't know where they can buy that.
Look at her face. Even she knows. Listen, you gotta take this L, Fav. You should resign for real. I ain't even gonna cap. You're embarrassing yourself, your family, the entire Jamaica. Not to mention the Jamaica Labour Party. I put them last. You're embarrassing yourself. You're embarrassing Jamaica. You're embarrassing your family. This ain't it. Just resign, man. Bow out gracefully. It is not gonna get better from here. Alright, you guys really don't have a lot of time in office anyway. Thus said the Lord. So hey, I'd leave. Trust me, I would leave. I would take away myself. Hey, pray about it. You know what I'm saying? Ask God to guide you, because I already said something about being 70 Adventist. Yeah. Pray about it, Favor.
Pro box. Because they said they want that Pro box. That when you put aside $2,000 a month for 3 months, you can pay down on that Pro box. So they've asked me to ask you, because they are ready to buy that Pro box. So I want to ask the minister, please tell me where that Pro box is.
You guys notice how vocal Mark Golden is? Man, listen. But yeah, man, we trying to get this Pro box sold, y'all. So yeah, the Cash App is pinned. You know what I'm saying? DH7220. We got the Zelle. We got the Zelle information pinned as well, and we got the PayPal link, and we got the name. Everything is right there pinned, ladies and gentlemen. Come on now. Get your bids in for the Pro box. Get your bids in for the Pro box. All right. Like I said, all you gotta do is pour water on it, and then hey, you know what I'm saying? Turns into a goddamn car, or a Pro box for real. And you could drive it, and then just don't drive after 12 like in the story. You know what? Let me stop. I'm sorry. No.
I'm coming to you. Mr. Speaker, the JLP has gone to great lengths. Speaker, when I invited my wife, I told her that they would be on good behavior. JLP has gone to great lengths to downplay and deny the PMP's critical role in achieving macroeconomic stability that the country enjoys.
Listen to this.
They would have us believe that they single-handedly fixed the economy, as if history started in 2016. And I must tell you, when I listened to the history lesson on Tuesday, I noticed that it stopped at 2002. Yes. It stopped at 2002. It didn't go beyond 2002. Right? I ask you to protect me. I ask you to protect me.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is not cute, because I remember on Tuesday, and I think somebody's gonna say something right here.
Madam, are you rising on a point of order? Yes. Please get to your point of order.
You hear him? Please get to your point of order. I really don't like this dude, man. I really don't like this dude. He's just unfair. And he's full of shit. I'm sorry. Yo, this dude is, he one of the worst house speakers, man. I'm like, can somebody take his microphone? Seriously.
You know I'm not a fast worker, Mr. Speaker. But what I'm saying is on Tuesday, the Madam Speaker set a protocol in this House where there would have been no interruptions from either side. And what you are not doing is implementing it.
If it is, I will now use the instrument of the House to do so.
You know how that took, you know how much that took out of him to say that? Because she's absolutely right. I was just about to say it. Like the other day, she did that. She was like, nobody should interrupt the speaker. So why is everybody over there just interrupting the speaker? He literally can't get his words out because they doing too much. You know what I'm saying? But I'm glad Lisa Hanna said something.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I said the history lesson stopped at 2002. It never went any further. But it is my responsibility to remind this House and the country that the economic foundation that the country now enjoys was built by the People's National Party from 2012 to 2016. When we inherited our country's economic fundamentals were in a perilous state at the end of 2011 when the JLP left office. And Mr. Speaker, the PNP undertook the very difficult task of rebuilding our international credibility, of reestablishing relationships with donor agencies, and doing the heavy lifting to put the country back on the right track. So the macroeconomic fundamentals that are bearing fruit, now that returns on the structural and tax reforms which were implemented have led to higher revenues. And Mr. Speaker, it is because of those tax reforms that we implemented which led to efficiencies in tax collections, which have seen tax collection increase over a significant period of time, and higher revenues for the government. So, Mr. Speaker, they can't claim paternity for fixing the economy. And if they try to clear paternity, we would call it a jacket.
Yo! No, sir.
All lies will be exposed. That's all. And anyone who takes that the wrong way know why they take it the wrong way.
Andrew, let's government that try claim an economical jacket. No, sir. Not their picnic.
So, Mr. Speaker, they can't claim paternity for fixing the economy. And if they try to clear paternity, we would call it a jacket. We would call it a jacket. If you did the DNA would say, I know for them picnic. A BMP picnic.
We need help, Jesus.
Speaker, we recall the years where the economy experienced 14 consecutive quarters of negative growth from 2007 to 10, only to achieve a mere 1.5% in 2011. So I was just surprised that the history lesson didn't go that far on Tuesday. It conveniently stopped. The economic situation from 2007 to 2011 could just be described as dire, notwithstanding the fact that we had a global financial crisis. We did. But notwithstanding that. And yes, the government implemented fiscal responsibility framework and they rolled out a JDX program, which the IMF had required us to do. But Mr. Speaker, even with those, it did not solve the problem. The JLP abandoned and effectively ended the 27-month standby agreement that the country had. And let me just explain. Abandon, not just failed a test, didn't take a test, just abandon. And don't take my word for it. Let me quote Trevor Elaine, the then IMF mission chief to Jamaica, who captured the severity of this period in an interview. And I quote, the JLP-led government, did it without consulting us. That's when I knew the program was in trouble.
What can go so? What can go
So,
Help. We key out of the letter.
Divine intervention. We're tired of the labor right. We're tired of the green people.
Show the severity of this period in an interview. And I quote, they, the JP-led government, did it without consulting us. And I quote, they, the JP-led government, did it without consulting us. And I quote, they, the JP-led government, did it without consulting us.
embarrassing.
He needs some milk.
People, them just abandon the program after they have an agreement with the IMF. This was what Mystic Sensation was talking about. This is what Wayne Lonesome been a talk about. This is what all of the comrade them aromatic did a talk about. Listen, I never know the intricacies of this. The IMF said what? Oh, there's more. Wait a minute. Let's continue.
That's when I knew the program was in trouble. Mr. Speaker, as my friend Horace Daly would say, not even a WhatsApp or a text message they sent to the IMF. Abandon the program. The collapse of the IMF program under the JP's watch not only strained relations with the fund, but affected funding from other multilateral organizations. Following the IMF's decision, the World Bank, the IDB, and the EU withheld support. Mr. Speaker, the international financial community had turned its back on Jamaica. By 2012, late 2011, we were on the precipice of economic collapse. We didn't have access to the international financial markets. Public debt had soared to 134% of GDP. Our very survival as a nation was at stake. And I just want to share with you some statistics. The fiscal deficit at the end of 2011-12 was 6.2% of GDP. Inflation was at 7.3% by the end of 2011-12. And this is according to the government's fiscal policy paper. The Jamaican people, yearning for change, entrusted the responsibility of the country to the People's National Party. And in that period, we managed to negotiate a new IMF agreement with the support of our international allies, which provided a financial lifeline for Jamaica. But make no mistake, it was a painful negotiation. The IMF felt that we had to be taught a lesson because the level of trust had broke down. Dr. Peter Phillips, who could be considered the father of that fiscal transformation, in an article written in the Financial Times, said, "My first few weeks were spent in a dialogue of the deaf. There was a view that it would take a complete collapse to force Jamaica to change. My job was to convince the IMF that we were serious this time, but there was a big trust deficit. We were making no progress on our own in negotiating a deal with the IMF. The JP had left a bitter taste in their mouth." The Financial Times published an article quoting an IMF insider, and this is what the IMF insider said when there were meetings with the IMF staff team and the Jamaican delegation. He said, "Has Jamaica crashed yet?" That is where we were at the end of 2020.
Wow.
It was
Wow.
Portia Simpson Miller who used her international financial capital, political capital, to get our friends in the Black Caucus in Congress to lobby the IMF so that we could renegotiate.
Yo, listen, we cannot move forward and don't put some respect on Portia Simpson Miller, ladies and gentlemen. Man, what? Man, yo, this is crazy.
Congresswoman Maxine Waters led a delegation, I believe it was on Christmas Eve, to the IMF, to the then managing director, Christine Lagarde, and basically pleaded the case of Jamaica, for Jamaica to be heard. And, Mr. Speaker, we had to undertake very difficult reforms. Some of those measures were painful. They involved raising taxes because we had to run a large fiscal surplus. But it was the passing of these tests, our adherence to fiscal discipline, and our efforts in reducing the debt that has handed the Labour Party the economy that they now enjoy. So, Mr. Speaker, when I listened to the history lesson on Tuesday, I wondered why the history lesson didn't go all the way up there. So during our tenure, we undertook a challenging debt restructuring and committed to maintaining a 7.5% primary budget surplus. By the time we left office, we had reduced public debt to 120% of GDP. We upheld an unparalleled level of fiscal discipline, tightened fiscal policies, and rolled out a comprehensive economic reform program. The program focused on structural reforms to stimulate growth and employment, significant fiscal adjustments backed by broad institutional reforms. By 2015, the country, Jamaica, the government under the PMP, had raised $2 billion US in the international financial markets at low interest rates. A third of those funds were used to buy back outstanding debt, including a portion of the Petrocarib debt from Venezuela. And that transaction, that single transaction,
Mr. Speaker, the members' time for allowed to complete.
For desired time, continue.
let me repeat what I said. In July 2015, the government, led by Portia Simpson-Miller and Peter Phillips as Minister of Finance, raised $2 billion US on the international capital markets at low interest rates. A third of those funds were used to buy back outstanding debt, including the Petrocarib debt from Venezuela. That single transaction, Mr. Speaker, saved Jamaica over $300 million in debt servicing. Huh? Yes, we got a 50% discount on it. That allowed us to bring our debt to GDP ratio down by over 10%. But Mr. Speaker, when we were doing that on that side, they were criticizing us. They were saying we shouldn't do it. They were saying we shouldn't reach out to our allies in the US for support. They felt the deal was wrong. You can look on it, it's there. That's you. It's there, it's there. Mr. Speaker, we also enhanced fiscal rules to guarantee prudent fiscal management. We supported the creation of EPOC, which has been transformed today into the Independent Fiscal Commission, comprising representatives from the business community, the unions, civil society, and government officials. These measures we implemented yielded substantial results. Jamaica's fiscal deficit was eliminated, achieving a 0.4% surplus by 2014-15. The public sector surplus rose to 1.4% of GDP. In 2015, inflation had dropped to 3.7% and was the lowest in nearly 5 decades. During that period, our economic progress did not go unnoticed. Standard & Poor's and Moody's raised Jamaica's debt credit rating in 2015, and Fitch followed suit in early 2016. Jamaica also made significant progress in the World Bank's Doing Business report, climbing 27 places from 85 to 54 among.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, I want you guys to look at this from the perspective of you have somebody that when they're in trouble, you can link them and say, oh, listen, all right, so lend me such and such money because, you know, whatever the case might be, you have an emergency and you're not going to go to that person without definitely needing that money. You get me? Because you don't like to even ask them. And then you just turn into one wicked person, not only to yourself but your family. And you borrow that money and the agreement is for you to give back the money at this time. And you just abandon the agreement. No, that person could be, say for instance, the bank. What is going to happen to you? You're going to lose your credit score. You're going to lose your credibility. So that's what Mr. Julian Robinson just explained. They just abandoned the program with the IMF. Did not call, did not say that they're going in this direction. So IMF wanted us to crash. And thank God for Peter Phillips and Mama P. Mighty God. Listen, I never understood these things, but I do now. I do now. JLP can't talk to me about nothing again. Listen, when Mark Gordon said they cannot be trusted, he was right. My God.
Mr. Speaker, the work done by the PMP administration did not go unnoticed. The IMF's then managing director, Christine Lagarde, and I quote what she said, I want to pay tribute to Minister Phillips and his colleagues for what has been a clear change of course.
Hey man, I need y'all to see that properly, because that's evidence. Stop playing with these people, man. This is evidence right here. Look at this article. Leadership for
making the hard choices and successfully completing 4 reviews.
Leadership for the times. IMF bosses salute Portia Peter for putting Jamaica back on track. This is evidence. You cannot refute this labor rights. Can I get an amen? Hey y'all, please remember to hit the like button. I know y'all come in sometimes and y'all forget, but the main thing, man, y'all gotta hit the like button, man, and share the live stream. Come on now, stop playing. Support, support, support. The like button is free.
She described the program's success as astonishing, a testament to Jamaica's discipline and transparent economic management.
IMF was banking on Jamaica crashing, yo. They did not believe that Portia could do it and Peter, our administration, could do it. They set them up to fail, but she didn't. Man, y'all gotta stop playing with this lady. We better start put some respect on Mama P. I want to know. Hey.
And you will remember that she chose to come to Jamaica. And in that picture is the most honorable Portia Simpson Miller, Dr. Peter Phillips, and Horace Nelly. Mr. Speaker, it was our commitment to macro-fiscal stability and prudent fiscal management that rescued the economy. The structural and fiscal reforms we implemented laid the groundwork for the positive macro stability we now enjoy. We birthed the economic stability that the JLP's botched attempt at it in 2019. We are committed to that macro fiscal stability in 2025, and we will ensure that we entrench it so that no government can play with something that is as important as this. So that this forms the basis, the foundation for high and sustained economic growth. Mr. Speaker, to be honest, we never planned to go through this. But when I heard the history lesson on Tuesday from the minister, I said we have to set the record straight. You can't, if you're going to give a history lesson, then be fulsome with the history lesson. I am not going to stand up here and pretend that every time we have been at the wicket has been great. None of us can. You can't, we can't. But if we're going to give the history lesson, give it fully and completely. Not partially.
Man, come on, man. That's fair. That is fair. Stop lying.
Stop the cap. Stop the cap right now. Stop the cap. No bullshit, bro.
JLP.
Stop lying. Stop lying. Stop lying.
Wanna tell me wanna think about that the part there in the comment section. I think I'm done. Yeah, man, him set the record straight, man. Tell me what you think about that in the comment section, ladies and gentlemen. I remember.
So and I'm just touching quickly on those things. I mean, there's a lot. I could speak on every area if I needed to, agriculture and many other things. But essentially, we have a very difficult task ahead of us. Yeah. But if Jamaica doesn't get a change of government now, I don't know what kind of state we're going to be, because we have a corrupt government.
Remember that.